So the first step is choosing the fabric that we're going to cut and put on the mattress for the cover. So we will roll out the fabric and then measure the dimensions and cut it to the size we'll need to make our queen size bed. All right, so then we check on our size board up there to get the dimensions that we need to make the queen size that we're going to be doing here. And let's see here. Then mark for our mitered corners. Once we got it all drawn out, then we just cut it out. All right, now once we have it all cut, we'll move over to the serger to sew the corners and serge the edges. So first we're going to sew in all 4 of the mitered corners. Then we'll serge all the way around the bottom of the cover to finish it off so it's ready to be tape edged onto the mattress. So this is then ready to go on the top of the mattress once we get it complete. So we'll just fold it up and set it aside for right now and move on to making the side and the bottom cover for the mattress. So then we need the fabric that we'll put on the bottom of the mattress, which is right here. We'll roll that out and basically do the same thing, measure and cut it like we did the top. So again, we got that marked out, so we just cut it to size. All right, so then we will move this over to the serger flanger to both serge it and put a flange on so we can attach it to the mattress when we get to that point. So this machine is serging like we did with the other one, but it's also adding this flange to the mattress panel so that we can hog ring that to the side of the mattress once it's assembled so that the cover can't move or twist once the bed is all put together. All right, so that finishes that up. We'll then move on to making the sidewall, the last step to making the cover for the mattress. So then we're just going to select the fabric we need for the sidewall of this one. And we'll measure it out. We have the dimensions of all the different mattresses pre-marked on the tabletop here, so we just kind of bring it out to the line that we need to make the queen size that we're doing here today. So once we get it measured to the mark, we're just going to cut it off here. And then we're going to take and make a mark here to give us the center of the end, so when we're sewing it up, we can make sure that we get the label on the other end in the dead center of the mattress and the foot label in the dead center. Then we'll move over to the serger and serge the border. So then we'll move over here to the serger just to get this serged to the correct height and to get it finished off so we can tape edge. We keep all of our sidewall heights written up there on the board. We're doing a Rejuvenate today, so we need this to finish 10.5 inches. So first clean up the one end. We'll just flip it over and go down the other side and finish that up. We have marks to give us the dimensions on the table here, so we don't have to measure each one. They're already marked, and we just follow the mark as we're serging. We've got that done. All we need to do is close the border and add the law label. Move over to this machine. I'm going to close the border. Might be able to see it. I'm not sure that this thread is kind of yellow looking. It's yellow because it's made out of Kevlar, which makes sure that this seam will hold up even in the event of a fire. So if somehow you ended up with a fire in your bedroom, it would protect the highly flammable materials inside of the mattress from fire. The border here itself is quilted to a cotton and rayon blend that is a fire barrier, and then to hold that together we use the Kevlar thread in the seam to get it so the fire can't get inside. Now we move on to actually building thing in the back here. So the first step is we're going to bring in our pocketed coil spring system to begin the build of our mattress. We always look everything over first just to make sure that nothing was manufactured wrong, damaged in shipping, whatever. Just want to make sure that fabrics aren't torn, glue's in good shape, no low coils, that type of thing. We also are going to trim the edges of the scrim so that we've got something solid to glue to when we put our first layer on. So we're going to lay our bottom foam on first, and we're just going to center it up on the unit. Pocketed coils are kind of like accordions in that they move around a little bit, so your pocketed coil system will always be a little bit larger than your padding. So we center it up on there, and then we're gonna, we know that our foam is cut to the proper size for a queen, so we'll then use our water-based adhesive around the edge to get the spring pushed into the proper size. We use hot melt through the center. We would probably use hot melt on everything, except hot melt simply takes too long to set up. So we use the water base from Saba to give us an instant tack. The glue actually has no tack at all when you first spray it on. When you apply pressure to it, when you press down to it, it will stick and be basically a permanent bond. So now that we got the Saba around the outside, we're going to do the hot melt. And this is really not much different than just your basic crafting hot glue type material, except for instead of being in a stick and coming out in a bead, we get it in little pellets and we put it in a large, basically crock pot, heat it to 350 degrees, and then it is pumped through this hose where it's mixed with pressurized air and allows it to be sprayed. So once we get it, the adhesive on, we're just going to go ahead and roll it out onto the bed, where then we can adjust the size of the spring to fit the foam. So we're going to press it in and then press it down so that we get good. So we do this one side at a time, half the mattress, then we do the other half of the mattress here. This bottom panel is a FR fabric also. It's what we call an inherent FR, made by Precision. They're made here in the USA. All of our fire barriers are American made to avoid issues from importers that don't exactly do business the way we like people to do business. These guys have tons of certifications as far as safety, including California certifications like Proposition 65 and stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and hog ring that flange that we put on this panel to the spring. This way, once this mattress is complete, it won't be possible for the cover to ever move or twist. Now that we've got the bottom complete, we'll go ahead and flip it over and start the top side of the build. Same thing when we get to the top, we do a quick visual inspection just to make sure everything looks fine on the spring. Next step is going to be the microcoil, or sometimes called nano coils. Microcoils can be any spring system, basically less than about 3 inches thick. Once you get down to like an inch or less, they're usually considered nano coils. And that's what we have here. This is a 1 inch high coil layer. And what this is designed to do is basically replace foam in the bed and give you something that's stronger, longer lasting, and breathes better. Obviously the air will move right through the coil layer really easily and helps keep the mattress a little bit cooler. It kind of gives a progressive rate feel to the mattress. As instead of going right to the firmer spring, you have those little bit softer springs in between there. We're gonna do the same thing here like we did on the bottom. Saba water-based adhesive around the outside edge, and then we'll use the hot melt in the middle. This is a nice thing about the Saba not having a lot of tack until you get it right where you want it, so you can make sure you get the rows even and straight as you're putting it into the bed. Then when you get it comfortable where you want it, go home, go around, put some pressure on it, and it will stick down and won't move anymore. So we'll just repeat that process here for the other side. All right, next step is going to be latex. So 1 inch medium firm layer of latex for this particular build. Just sort of get that straight on there. And we'll do the same thing. We'll attach this with the Saba and hot melt. Same thing, once you're comfortable that it's straight and where you want it, we'll go ahead and apply some pressure to it. That'll activate the glue and it will stay where we need it. So this is 2 inches of soft latex that's going to go on this build now. Same thing, using the Saba and the hot melt. You'll notice that every layer we have put on here, we have fully glued. A lot of companies just do a perimeter glue, tack glue. Some layers they don't glue at all. This is one of the things that sort of separates our builds from a lot of other manufacturers. We make sure that every layer is attached and not going anywhere. So 4 or 5 years down the road, when you decide to move to a different house or something and you're standing your mattress up on its side, all the padding doesn't end up in a pile on the bottom side of the mattress. Everything will stay where it's supposed to be. All right, so this is going to complete all the padding layers on the bed. We will now kind of move on to doing the rest of the cover. So this is our precision glass-free FR layer. There's been a lot of talk in the news about hybrid beds and foam beds that have fiberglass in the FR layer, which is one way to make a bed fire retardant, and honestly can work and can be safe if done correctly, but some companies cut corners. This particular product is an inherent glass-free product, so there's no concern as far as the safety of the layer. It is made primarily from basically it's a plant-based material. It's what they call an FR rayon. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna bring this down over the side and attach it to the spring. We don't need to go all the way to the bottom because we will have an FR sidewall that's going to wrap over the other side. This is mostly just to protect the top, and we're going to bring it down a little ways just to make sure that we're safe. Of course, all of this has been tested and prototyped at Underwriters Labs just to make sure that all of our designs function the way that we intend them to. Okay. Next step is then the cover. Next step here is we're going to grab the sidewall and the top panel that we made earlier and get that on the mattress. So what Angelica is doing is just adding a little bit of cotton fill on each corner there, just to make it so it's nice and smooth and round. and you don't get a coil feel on the corner. And if you were moving the mattress around in your house or something like that and dragging it on the corners, the cotton will help insulate so you wouldn't tear a cover or something like that. Something again that 50 years ago every major mattress manufacturer would have done. You just don't see too much of it yet today. And I'm just kind of pinning this top cover in place so that when we move up to the tape edge, it will be all ready to sew on. I'm going to slide up here, and we're going to get the correct color binding tape on here so everything looks nice and pretty. This is the night color that will match the dots in the top of the mattress and the border on the side. Ready to go. And again, we close this with the Kevlar threads just to make sure that everything stays good and safe as far as the mattress goes. Whenever I have to stop, you'll notice I reach up and manually move the needle to make sure it's always down when we're moving. If we try moving things around with the needle up, we'll end up with skips in the stitches. Got a label for this. Couple things we do a little different than a lot of companies. When I got to the edge, you seen that I take and fold the tape back under so there's not a raw edge. Most companies just run off. This is the other thing that most companies don't do. They just trim the threads close. This is a chain stitch, however, and if somebody happened to get a hold of the right thread, they could just unsew their entire mattress. So we take the threads, tie them into a knot, and then trim them close to make sure that they're not going to get torn off. We're ready to flip and do the other side. All right, that pretty much wraps it up. It's just ready to go into a bag and be packaged for delivery. So we'll bag it up. We always include a copy of our care tips and warranty. And we'll tape it all closed. A protective boot on. What this is for is when the mattress is being carried or when it's riding in the truck, just a little extra protection for the mattress than just the bag. It's a really heavy layer there. And then we'll use our own special carriers, something my grandpa actually invented probably 50 years ago. We used to do upholstery and mattresses, and he took furniture webbing and made straps to make it easier to carry mattresses. So this is what we use, and she's ready to go.